Hi, Steve Draper here in my workshop in Bellevue, Nebraska for Shopsmith Mark IV 7520. You've probably been waiting for this video since I did a short this last week telling you that I was going to be doing it. And this video is meant specifically for those of you who do not own a Shopsmith but have always wanted one. Now, perhaps your grandfather had one, or your father had one, or a relative or someone else you knew had one, or you see them demonstrated at shows or other places and you've always wanted one and you've finally decided that you want one. And so this video is specifically targeted for you that are looking to get your first Shopsmith. Now, those of you who already have a Shopsmith, this is not targeted towards you, and you're welcome to listen. You might learn a few things, but just know up front who this is targeted for. So if you're looking to get a Shopsmith machine, you probably know that Shopsmith currently closed. Looking for a buyer, they may or may not find another one. And I'm not sitting around waiting to find out if that happens or not. I'm just moving on with my life. I'm just continuing to do what I've always done with my machines. But those of you who have always wanted one, don't give up. Buy a used one. There's some really good used ones out there, and that's what this video is for, is to help you decide which used ones to buy, which ones to stay away from, and which ones to select, and how to pick the best one and get a good price and get one that's really going to last and that you're really going to enjoy, just like your grandfather or your father or others you've known have enjoyed them over the last 78 years. So if you didn't know, a Shopsmith branded machine has been made for the last 78 years, and there's excess of 400,000 of them that have been made over that period of time. And that's a lot of machines that's out there. And also there are 11 different models of the Shopsmith machine that was produced over the years. They're the 10E, the 10ER, the Mark II, the Mark V, the Mark Roman numeral 7. There's a Mark V 500, Mark V 510, a Mark V 520, a Mark IV, a Mark 520S, and a Mark 7. So that's a lot of different models to consider. And so this video is going to show you which are the ones to consider. And I'll tell you, the ones you really want to consider are the ones that are about the last 20,000 that were produced, which is in about in this century, since about 2000, maybe a few years prior to that. Those are the models that were produced that you really want to be looking at. And so I will be showing you here what to look at. These are the machines as a first-time buyer for your Shopsmith, for a used Shopsmith, that I recommend you avoid completely. They're very old machines, and I'm going to go through each of them because each of them will come up for sale from time to time. And I just want you to recognize them when you see them. So if you look on this spreadsheet down here, you see here I have the 7 of those, actually 6 models there that were all made prior to 1970, 71, from 1947, actually through 1968. And I'm going to just go through each of those briefly. The first one I'm going to show you here, as you're seeing on the screen now, is the 10E. That just had a half horsepower motor. You can see it's actually external. The belts are exposed. It's got a toggle switch, a single bearing. If you want to change speed, you had to physically move that belt to different pulleys. Table size is very small. Safety and accuracy is low compared to the later models that came out. The 10ER, which you see next here, is very similar. Just had a couple of extra things that were added to it. Everything else is pretty much the same as the 10E. It did have a speed changer that helped a little bit, but that was about it for upgrades that happened on the 10ER. Then the next, and those were both manufactured from 1947 through 1953. As you can see, they're on the spreadsheet. Now this here, you're seeing on the screen now, it's called a greenie. That's because of the color of it. It's the first that's actually named a Mark V. These have a 3/4 horsepower motor in them, a Gilmer drive, toggle switch, single bearing, Now these don't have the pulleys anymore that you have to move. They have actually the dial on there to do your speed change. Table size is small, a little bit bigger than what it was on the 10E and 10ER. Safety and accuracy, um, it's it's mediocre when you get to the greenie, and actually to the all the rest of these on here. Safety and accuracy, I rate those as being mediocre. And again, this is in comparison to the ones that come later. This the wording that I use to describe these, and all of the rest of these, they all have a dial speed change, as you can see here. The table size will be the same. Single bearing quill, the switch, that's a toggle switch. And now we start getting after the greenie, which is a 3/4 horsepower motor in this next one, which is the Goldie here. Okay, this one came in the first couple of years as a 3/4 horsepower motor, and then they upgraded it to a 1 1/8 horsepower motor. And they also changed the drive on this to Poly V from the Gilmer, which was approved. In fact, the Poly V happens on all of the ones that are happening after this model. Single bearing quill, everything else is pretty much the similar. Then the next to the Mark V gray model, that one is this one where you see right here. And the color has changed. Other than that, now all of these are 1 1/8 from now on, Poly V belt, toggle single bearing. Again, the dial speed change. The table size has not changed. Safety and accuracy is still pretty mediocre on this one. And the very last one that I want to show you here in this category was the ones I want you to avoid completely, and that is the Mark VII. The Mark VII had dual tilt on it. The problem is this had some plastic parts on it, and there was issues with the plastic parts breaking. You're not going to find replaceable parts for them, and they had some other problems with that particular model. And so I just want to mention to you, you'll find out there people that own every one of these machines and love them, and they've had them for decades, and they've gotten used to using them, and they've never had the experience of using the newer machines, and so they've just gotten used to them. But as a first-time buyer of a used Shopsmith, I really highly recommend you just avoid these completely. You'll see quite a number of these coming up for sale for very cheap prices. I mean, I'm talking like less than $100, many of them. And so don't be tempted to jump on and buy one if you want to actually use it for woodworking. If you're looking for a project to work on to rebuild machines, that's fine. But if you really want to buy a machine to start using to do woodworking, I'd recommend you stay away from these machines. Okay, so now I'm going to go down into the next category, which I've put as the yellow category down here. And these are better machines, substantially better than the ones in the red category. And I'm going to go over here, and you can see here, these were manufactured from 1973 up through basically 2001 is the time period that they were marketed and sold. And that was the two primary models there that I want you to see here is the Mark V Model 500 and the Mark V Model 510. Now, when we get to these, the 500, again, all of these have the same horsepower motor, 1 1/8 Poly V horsepower motor. The switches are still toggle. In some of the later years, they went to the locking switch, which is a little bit better switch. And then a little bit later years, they went to the double bearing quill on there, which was a substantial improvement. Still the same dial speed change. The 510, though, has a larger table system. Safety and accuracy. I say when we get to the Mark V 500, I consider that to be adequate for safety and adequacy, but the 510 is actually much better. And I'm going to put this on full screen here so you can see what this looks like a little bit better, and I can show you the differences on these. And so here you can see on the left the 500, On the right, the Model 510. My 510, you see some substantially larger table system, a better support system. The table itself is bigger. The upper riving knife is much better, and with the upper saw guard, the dust collection is superior. Everything is superior to the 510 over the 500. And despite that, I'm still saying at this point, don't jump on buying these two models. And the reason I'm going to tell you is because the later models are better. They're much substantially better than these. And these you're going to have a better experience if you hold off. You're going to see a lot of Model 500s out there. Same thing. You're going to see a lot of those out there for sale for some as little as less than $200. And the 510s, I've seen those for sale for less than $500. And it can be tempting to jump on those machines. But the reason I want you to stay away from it is because when you get your first machine, you want to have a machine that's got a lot of available documentation. It's got a lot of videos available. It's got a lot of education available for you. And the later machines are going to have that for you, much greater to the extent that you can see on these machines here. Okay, so these three machines here, you see in here, this is the Mark 520S. You can see on here, they look similar to the previous machines. But what I want you to notice here is the table system is different. Up here, Mark IV here, same thing. You see the table. The extrusions here are a much better extrusion on these machines. And also here, the Mark VII, here, you can see here, all three of these machines can be configured very similar to the one you're seeing on your screen right now, here, the Mark VII. And it's got substantially better extrusions. The fence is just night and day difference than the previous ones. And it's just a far better machine. Mark VII here has the electronic DVR motor in it. The Mark IV, the Mark 520S, and the Mark V 520. Now, I didn't put a picture up here of the Mark V 520 because Mark V 520 looks almost identical to the 520S. The only difference here is on the left end here. The extrusion here on the left end is a little bit different. But other than that, they're identical machines. So when it comes time to going and buying a used machine, these are the machines you want to be looking at. You want to be looking at the, let's show down here in green. Actually, for some reason, I don't have the Mark VII on there. Disappeared. But it should be a line on there for the Mark VII. But in any case, those machines were manufactured from here 1999 up through 2025, which is the last third of the 78-year history of Shopsmith being sold and built and sold. So those are the period of time you want to select, is that last 26 years. And you want to look at the Mark IV, the Mark V 520, the Mark 520S, and the Mark VII, which you can see right here on the screen. Okay, here I'm going to show you the difference between the older type headstocks and the newer type one, which is the one you really want to get and prefer when you're looking for a machine, for your first machine. This older type headstock here, you can see this hole here, it's only about 3 1/4 inches in diameter. It's very difficult to get your hand in here. I can almost not get my hand in here. So if your hand's any bigger than mine, you're not going to be able to get your hand in there. You need to be able to get in there because there's the sheaves and there's the oiling of that needs to happen, and it's hard to get into. So that's why you don't like this. This is the headstock that has the toggle switch on it here that I told you want to avoid this one. So this one has the single bearing quill. Now you'll say, why do I have one of these? Well, because when I got it, I sent it out and had it professionally rebuilt. So it's just like new. Even though this was made in 1973, it's been restored and rebuilt just like new. And I'm not using it at my main machine. I'm using it for putting auxiliary support tools on like the bandsaw when I would just want to operate them by themselves. So here on the newer one here, you can see this is a substantially larger hole. It's easy to get your hand into to work on, and for oiling and lubricating in there, it's really easy to get into. And putting this on is really easy. This just slides down and then the screw holds it in place to put this plate back on. The other plate is not as easy to put on and off. It's actually quite difficult to put on and take off. So the other plate for this one, that's this one, it has these springs on here that you've got to get put down in place, and you can't do it by hand. You've got to have a, well, you can, if you really got strong fingers, you can do it, but you really need to be doing it with a flat tip screwdriver to get it on. As you can see, it's hard to get on and off. Getting it started is not easy, and if you're not careful, you'll stab yourself with the screwdriver. So there, finally got it. Now getting it off, as hard as that was getting on, it's even harder getting off to get your screwdriver in there and pry that out. So that's why I tell people just avoid these headstocks. They're really a pain to deal with, and if you ever get one, you don't know what's been done to them. Usually the bearings are worn out, the belts are worn out, that type of thing. So avoid this headstock, please. Now here on the newer one, this is the one that has the newer switch on it. This is the switch you want to make sure you get on your machine. These were put in all the machines in 1991 and newer. It has a removable lock. When you remove that, you cannot turn it on and off. So it's a safety device. So if you want to keep children or other people out of it, you just take that out. When you want to use it again, when you put that back in, then you can turn it on and off. Okay, so the next thing I want to show you is when you go to physically look at the machine itself. You've gotten there, you're looking at the machine. Don't show your excitement to the person who's selling it. Just do a good inspection. Now, what do I mean by a good inspection? First of all, look the machine over. You want a machine that's clean. You can see how clean this one is. A clean machine shows that the owner cares about it. He's been taking care of it. If it's all got surface rust or is difficult to move the parts around, you know he's really not been taking very good care of it. You want to make sure that the headstock here will slide easily here on the weigh tubes. Just loosen the lock here. It should slide very easily. That's what you really want. That's what you're looking for in a machine. Also, the same thing on the carriage here for the table here. You want it to also be sliding easily. So unlock it. It should slide easily, just like you see here. You shouldn't hear any sounds from it when you slide it in either one of them. You want to check. It should go easily up and down. See how easy that is, how quiet it is going up and down. And then the last item is you're going to have a fixed table extension that comes with the machine. I'll put that on there for you so you can see what that looks like. So this is your fixed extension table. Which actually goes on this end here. You may have to raise your table a little bit to get it to slide away here. So slide this up next to the headstock. So this should easily go up and down, just like that. Should easily go up and down. Also, the casters, if it has casters on it, most of them do, it should roll around quite easily, like you see this rolling down, up and down. Check to make sure that that's working okay. Check to make sure that the lift on it, that's these levers here, that you can put the table legs, the machine, up and down. That should go easily just as well, just like you see right there. So we have not even turned on the machine yet. We haven't done that. We're just doing our visual inspection of the external first. Now, this machine here is a Mark IV, okay? But you're going to do the same process for the Mark IV or the Mark 520S or the Mark 520 or your Mark 7. All of those you want to go through the same procedure, just like you saw me go through here. Also, for your machine, when you check it out, you want to look in the manual. It should have a manual that comes with the machine when you get it. Now, this particular machine, which is a Mark IV, says right on it, the Mark IV manual. If you have the 520S, it'll say just like that, the 520S manual. If you have the Mark 7, it's going to look just like this. It'll say a Mark 7 manual. And if you have the Mark 5 520 manual, it should look like this. Now, the Mark 5 520 manual was like this when it first came out, which was in late, actually, 1998, and all the way up through 2001. This was the manual that was for this particular machine, the Mark 5 520. After 2001, the manual looked like this that you see right here. So you should have one of these manuals with the machine that you get. Now, what happens if you get a machine that looks like one of these, but you don't have one of these manuals? What does that mean? Well, for example, what if it has this manual, which says here, Shopsmith Mark V Home Workshop System, which is actually the manual for the 500. But the machine looks like this. What does that mean happened? Remember, Shopsmith, their parts are interchangeable, and you can upgrade the machine. So what that means is that the machine was originally, when it was first bought, a Shopsmith Mark V 500, and the owner, somewhere along the line, upgraded it to a Mark V 520 by changing out components. So that's what happened in that situation. So I'll cover that a little bit later about what to do in those circumstances. But right now, just focus on getting the machines that have one of these four manuals with it. Okay, so now at this point, for all but the Mark 7, I want to show you what to do for checking out the machine to make sure it's operating correctly. So to make sure the machine operates correctly, we're going to take our carriage here and we're going to slide it over here to the right. Make sure it's sitting firmly on the ground, and don't plug it in. Don't plug it in. Leave it unplugged at this point. Okay, so at this point, we want to check and make sure that the quill mechanism is extending and working smoothly. So what you'll do is loosen this lever right here, advance the quill, and also unlock it on the other side, and it should extend out a full 4 inches, and it should go very smoothly. So you don't hear any sounds with that going, and it shouldn't stick or bind or anything like that. Also, the spindle here, you should be able to turn that easily by hand. No problem turning that spindle. Okay? So now that we've checked that by hand, make sure we don't hear any strange sounds or anything like that, we're about ready to turn the machine on and see what it sounds like. So at this point, we're going to take the plug and plug it in. Just standard 110 volt outlet. Now, do not turn this dial. Leave it where it is. Whatever speed it happens to be on, don't worry about it. Just leave it as. Do not turn this dial. So you have to turn the power on first, and then after we turn on the power, that's when we adjust the speed. So at this point, I'm going to turn on the power. Okay. After you turn on the power, go ahead and tighten these two back up on the quill. With it running like that, you don't want to hear any vibration. Just make sure that this lock is locked down and that this is locked down. You should hear it. It should not hear any vibration. It should sound like just like you did right now. And so at this point, we're going to turn it back on, and we're going to make sure that the speed dial mechanism works okay. So we'll go ahead and turn this on. And that's our lowest speed. So as you can see, this machine, when we first turned it on, it was already set at the highest speed. When you're done, regardless of where you adjust it, end it on the lower speed, which is down here where it says slow down here. So that's where you end it on. So at that point, if everything looks good and sounds good, at this point, if everything's checked out for what I've talked about so far, now it's time to check and see if all the accessories that are supposed to be with this machine are actually with it. And so you say, well, how do you find that out? That's where the manual comes in. So let's pull out the Mark IV manual here for this one. And every one of the manuals has a section in it that shows what comes with the machine when it's brand new from the factory. And here we are. So right here, in this one, it's in section B of the manual. It goes through, and I think we're going to bring the camera up here so we can get a close-up on these pages while I'm going through them with you. And go ahead and, okay? No, that's fine where it is. So what starts out here in section B of the manual, it's going to show you here. This is just a parts breakout of the base of the bench of the model, all the parts that are in the headstock. This is all the parts that are in the table, which comes with it. This is all the parts of the carriage. This is the lower and upper saw guard, which do come with it. Just stay there. I'll show you what that looks like. But it's in the picture there. You can see it in the picture. But here's the actual upper and lower saw guard. Okay, so you want to go through and see, well, that's supposed to be with it. Yeah, there's an upper saw guard. Then you'll go to the next page here. I can see here there's a fence, a rip fence that should come with it. This is the extension table. We already saw that. Then here is the miter gauge that's supposed to come with it. This shows it broken apart, but the miter gauge as it's put together looks like this right here. Okay, so you're going to want to make sure that's with it. Then this next page here shows other items that may come with it. Now this says on this page additional optional accessories. That means they do not come with this machine. A person could have ordered them separately if they wanted them, but they are optional accessories, additional optional accessories for the machine. So all the other pages after this are optional accessories that did not necessarily come with the machine itself. Now, if I go to something like the Mark 520, that comes with a lot more accessories than this Mark 4 does.
Did we go back?
Now, this happens to be the accessories that come with the Shopsmith Mark 520 from its manual. You can see on this page, it doesn't say optional accessories, it says miscellaneous accessories. That means that everything on this page came with the machine when it was purchased new. And you can see it has a lot of accessories on here. It has a drive center and tailstock and tool rest for doing lathe operations. It came with a drill chuck and a key, a coupler for special purpose tools, safety goggles, push stick, push block, a feather board, a fence straddler, a saw blade and arbor, a sandpaper and the sandy disc, an arbor wrench. All of those accessories came with this machine when it was new. So you want to check to make sure that they are with the machine when you purchase it as well. And each of the other machines, the Mark 7 and also the Mark 520S, will have a similar section in their manuals that'll tell you what's supposed to come with that machine. Now, if you're looking at a machine and for some reason it doesn't come with a manual or doesn't have the right manual with it, you'll say, well, what do you do in that situation? Well, in that case, I have uploaded every one of the Shopsmith manuals to archive.org, where anyone can go and download those manuals. And so before you go out to look at a machine, it's wise to download that manual so that you can access these pages that I just showed you on what's supposed to come with the machine. So you can take that with you when you go to look at the machine if for some reason that machine doesn't have a manual or has the wrong manual with it when you're going to look at it. So this is the Mark 7, which is the last of the machines that I want to talk to you about. This happens to be the Generation 2. You can tell by the keypad, it's much larger than the Generation 1. Other than that, the machines are the same as far as their function and their operability. So for checking out the Mark 7, the procedure is the same as what I just showed you, but for turning it on, when you go to turn it on, you don't have to be as rigorous on turning this one on because everything else is electronic. Just all you have to do is just make sure the spindle turns easily. That's all you really need to do on that. So when it's time to check it out, we're going to plug in the machine, make sure that the power switch here is down, is turned off, and then before you plug it in, this machine can plug into either 110 or 240 volts. It will automatically sense it. You don't have to make any changes or adjustments. You just plug it into the power source you want. So here I happen to have this plug on here for 240. If I take this off here, I can plug it into 110. Your machine that you go to get is probably not going to have this pigtail like this. It's going to have either this plug on it for 110 or it'll have this plug on it for 240, but it's not normally going to have the adapter one like I have, which Shopsmith does show you how to make that if you want to do that, which is why I have it. So at this point, we're going to take, now that we've made sure that power switch is off, we're going to plug this in. And again, make sure the machine's firmly on the ground. This one's not firmly on the ground, so I've got to adjust the height of the wheels so it's firmly on the ground. There we are. Now it's firm. I've got this locked in place. This is locked in place, so it's not going to slide, either one of them. So here we've done a close-up of the PowerPro, and I want you to watch as I turn this on and check it out. So here I'm going to start with turning on the power switch. And of course you see there the screen lights up. And we're just going to wait for while it goes through its checkout. Refer to owner's manual, ensure proper speed and direction. All of these messages you see on here should come on. Now here for the Generation 2, this is what the screen is going to look like. And so we just want to go through some of the functions, make sure that it is turning on and operating correctly. So I'm going to start here with bandsaw. And it doesn't matter which one. I'm just going to pick. You can pick any one you want. I'm going to pick a half-inch blade in hardwood, and it should come up and tell you the RPM. Push the green button, and it should start right up, and it should sound really smooth, just like you hear it there. To stop it, we'll just press the stop button. Now I'm going to go home, and we'll pick the next function, the drum sander. I'll pick coarse, softwood, 2,500 RPM. Go home. I'm going to go through and do that for each of the functions. This is router shaper. This is going to do 8,500 RPM. Okay, so just continue, go through all of the functions, just like that till you've gone through all of the functions, making sure they're all working correctly. And then lastly, I want to show you here, there's a section on here that's up here at the top of the scarce says settings. If I do settings, I want to look at factory motor parameters. Okay, that's just going to show you a display screen with the different motor parameters. That should come up and show you all of those should be filled in with information. So when you're done, we'll just go back. We will go back. Oops. Okay, so there we're back to home. Okay, and so when you're done and have checked it out, it sounds good to you. At this point, then go ahead and turn off your machine. That'll take a couple minutes to turn off on its own. There you go. Should go out just like that. Here is the serial number right here on the belt cover of this Shopsmith Mark V. You can see that it was manufactured January 2nd of 2002. Because of that date, we know that this machine originally had the 520 table system on it. Here on this Shopsmith Mark VII headstock, we can see that it was originally manufactured on August 23rd of 2016. That was a Generation 1. Then, below it, you can see that on June 12th of 2023, it was upgraded to the Generation 2 headstock. So again, we know this has the 520 Pro table system on it as well. This Shopsmith headstock does not have a date code on it. You can see there the serial number here is right in the metal plate itself, serial number 1079. From that, we know that this particular headstock is not one we would even consider buying, because we know it was made prior to 1985 and that it had the single bearing quill and also the toggle switch on it. So this was one we would not even consider purchasing. This machine has the toggle type switch on the headstock, which you see right here. That's for turning it on and off. If you see the toggle type switch on there, just avoid getting that particular machine. This machine has the locking type switch on the headstock, which you see right here. It's locking because when you remove this, the machine cannot be turned on and off. And then we put it back in. Then it can be turned on and off. You do want to have that on your headstock. You do want to make sure that has that type of switch on your headstock. This is another example of having the locking type switch on your headstock. This is on the Mark VII. All the machines that I recommend have that type of switch. The very best machines that I recommend were manufactured from May 2004 and onward. Those machines all came with the magnetic ruler that you see right here. That is removable and it can be adjusted. Also, those machines have the 520 large extrusion here on the table in the front and the rear, and they also have this beefy, heavy fence that has a locking here in the rear, which is self-aligning, and also it's for the front and that's for the rear. All the machines I recommend have these features on them. Now that you've checked out the machine completely and are satisfied that it comes with all the accessories and you're satisfied and are ready to buy it, now this is the point where you want to talk to the buyer about purchasing it. Now, at this point, you want to ask I'm not the buyer, ask the seller some questions about it. And that is, you want to ask the seller a little bit about the machine. Is he the first owner? Or if he's a subsequent owner, how long has he had it? How did he come to buy it? That type of thing. If he knows how many previous owners there is, that's just nice information to know about your machine that you're looking at purchasing. And then when you're ready to start to talk to him about price, then normally you already know what his asking price is. Then determine if you want to give him what he's asking or if you want to offer him less. So as I've mentioned previously, the prices of these are all over the place. There's really no relationship between how good the machine is and its price in the market for these machines. I've seen a machine, not like the Mark 7, but like my Mark 4 back here. I've seen machines like this that look as nice as mine do sell for less than $600. And I've seen people asking, a couple thousand for them. Okay, I've seen nice machines going for less than $300, and I've also seen nice machines go for $2,000. So there's really not much relationship between the price that people ask for them and the condition of the machine. It's just really all over the place. So just keep an eye out, and if you find a machine that you like, just negotiate on the price, because keep aware, these machines, if you're going to find one you like, it's probably not going to be right there in your neighborhood. It's probably going to be in some distant town that you're going to probably have to drive to with a pickup truck to get. You may be fortunate and find one in your local area, but to get the really nice machines, you're probably going to have to travel to get them. So hopefully this has been helpful to you on making the decision to buy your first Shopsmith machine and what to look for. And to get a really good one, be patient. They come up periodically, the nice ones, and you need to keep checking on a regular basis, because literally every single day new ones come up. And so that's it for this one. Hope this helps you. See you on the next one.